Has learned taxpayers are on the hook for tens of thousands of dollars more in travel costs for Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard and her administration.
It comes after WGN sued the village for refusing to turn over financial records as required by law. A judge sided with WGN. Investigative reporter Ben Bradley shows what those records reveal.
For a year now, we've been reporting on questionable spending by a South suburban politician named Tiffany Henyard. But we only knew half the story because we only had records from one of the two governments she runs. Now we can show you the real toll her travel is taking on taxpayers. The self-proclaimed super mayor is a prolific poster on social media, but what she rarely publicizes are her travels, trips frequently paid for by taxpayers.
If you want to have a good time, spend your own dime.
Despite being a trustee, this is the first time Tammy Brown has been able to see the village's credit card statements, records we had to get through a judge's order.
When you see things like this, it's like a punch in the gut.
Last January, we told you Tiffany Henyard and her entourage racked up more than $67,000 in travel-related charges in just 5 months. But that's just what was charged to Thornton Township credit cards, where she's the supervisor. When you add in what was billed to Dalton, trips for Mayor Henyard and her entourage cost taxpayers more than $100,000. We questioned Henyard about travel last fall.
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No comment.
You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other questions?
When Henyard hits the road, she and other village and township officials do so in style. Records show they often fly first class, pay for upgrades. They've stayed at luxury hotels, including the Four Seasons, and dine at steakhouses.
Oh my God. When you just see these things.
Let's look at one trip to Austin, Texas in July of last year. 5 people, including Mayor Henyard, for 5 days. While we previously reported the township was billed $27,000, we now know the actual cost was more than $47,000 when you factor in what Dalton taxpayers were charged. It includes nearly $1,000 spent at an Austin Walgreens and a sports riding apparel store. The only explanation for any of the travel was that it was to attend a conference.
I'm sure you guys had an awesome time on the backs of taxpayers, but what do we gain from any of these trips? We gain nothing.
Trustees say they've been demanding explanations for months.
You the ones that's costing the village money.
Okay. I don't have that call. All right. Okay.
But Henyard and her team refused to share the credit card records.
We were never allowed to get those statements. So this is the reason why you hid it from us, because definitely we will have questions.
Mayor Henyard is in a situation where she feels like she's under attack, because she is.
Bo Brinley is Henyard's criminal defense attorney, hired after the FBI served subpoenas on the village and township earlier this year. He blames Henyard's top aide, Keith Freeman.
Keith Freeman made the decision on how these funds are being used. Keith Freeman is going on these trips. You understand, this is a new mayor. This is someone that is new to this job.
But she never thought, hey, I shouldn't fly first class. I shouldn't stay at the Four Seasons.
If there was a problem with any of that, if that's not how you're supposed to do it, she relied on Freeman to tell her. He's telling her this is how we do things.
How things were done in Dalton is costing taxpayers dearly. Records we obtained show the village leased 3 luxury SUVs for Henyard's use at a cost to residents of more than $374,000.
The mayor didn't spend any of this money. Keith Freeman made decisions and reported to the mayor, this is what we're doing. The mayor trusted him until she didn't.
About that. This is me talking to people that understand business, that understand finance.
Back to those Dalton credit cards. They include nearly $25,000 charged in 5 months without explanation to places like Walmart, Target, and Jewel. There was $5,000 spent at local restaurants and Uber Eats. And Tiffany Henyard's personal photographer charged the village $3,400.
What I think is interesting about this case, this story, is you can be highly legal and unethical at the same time.
Kelly Richmond Pope is an accounting professor who has investigated municipal spending. She says the brazenness is what caught her eye.
Who does this? Who lives this way so out loud? It's almost like, I dare you to ask. I dare you to ask me. And I'm just shocked that a leader would think that they could get away with this type of behavior and that no one's going to ask them about it.
We out here, taste of Thornton. Yeah, keep raining, but it's still going on.
Trustees for both of the governments headed by Henyard have now limited special event and credit card spending, but it may be too little, too late. Dalton is laying off workers after trustees discovered the village is millions in the hole.
We sort of knew we were in a bind, but not to this extent. This is devastating.
Federal prosecutors charged Keith Freeman with bankruptcy fraud. He's now cooperating with trustees investigating Henyard's spending, but he denies he's working with the feds. Freeman declined to comment. The FBI's investigation into Henyard marches on. Ben Bradley, suburban politician Tiffany Henyard has lost another key ally. Until recently, Henyard enjoyed near unanimous support on the Thornton Township Board, but now trustee Carmen Carlisle says after trusting Henyard and remaining silent, she will be a whistleblower against Henyard. Carlisle released a statement to WGN that reads in part, "For the past 2 years, Henyard has manipulated employees, vendors, and residents using her position to increase her influence, all while projecting a false image of success funded by the hardworking taxpayers of Thornton Township and the village of Dalton. Henyard shows no accountability or conscience for her actions against employees or taxpayers." Henyard has denied wrongdoing and claims her opponents are out for what she calls clickbait. Tomorrow at 9, tune in for exclusive new reporting on Henyard's spending that she tried to keep secret.
Some of the agenda items appear to be inspired by recent accusations against Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard. WGN's Angelica Sanchez is live in South Holland with details. Angelica.
Well, it took no time for this meeting to become combative, with Henyard multiple times questioning why this special meeting was called in the first place when the township was already set to meet next week. Trustees say that this was their way of getting answers.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out.
Thornton Township called a special meeting. Supervisor Tiffany Henyard called it clickbait.
But it saddens my heart that you are up here at this special meeting and not downstairs where we have big bingo.
She wanted media instead cover an event downstairs.
I'm advising you to make a U-turn and go downstairs because you come for clickbait.
The meeting happened hours after the state comptroller suspended funds to South Suburban Dalton, where Henyard is also mayor. She's being accused of mismanaging taxpayer funds there. It took no time for the township meeting to turn combative.
So why aren't you paying the staff? I don't see the staff on here. I think that's a very important bill to pay. So do y'all want to amend that and add the staff bills? Because I don't see them in none of these bills lists. And then we don't never do agenda like this. So all this fluff you selling to the public is crap.
Trustees listed several agenda items, like approving the payments of several vendor bills, ordinances to establish travel guidelines, regulate budget approvals, and establish a credit card purchase policy.
I'm just tired of coming here and it has to be a show.
Henyard questioned multiple times why a special meeting was called when the township was already set to meet next week.
Sometimes we get invoices, but those invoices lead to more questions, and sometimes we don't get questions, answers to those questions. And so it's not about clickbait, it's about just making sure the right thing is being done.
Trustees say it was due to breakdowns in communication between trustees and administration.
I trusted the administration. I trusted the process. And the moment I didn't trust the process, I started asking questions.
Now, during a discussion over lawn care services for disabled seniors, Henyard's supporters praised her and said that she was being crucified. Meantime, some agenda items were approved while others were tabled for the meeting scheduled next Tuesday. Live in South Holland, Angelica Sanchez, WGN News.